We don't have a lot of time to waste because this morning's guest has got to go to school. Meet her, coming up next on All American People. Good morning. Welcome to All American People. This morning we're at the campground of the year as voted on by All American Cities, Ocean Lakes Family Campground. We're focused on Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach, and we're visiting with its administrator, Nancy Henry. Good morning, Nancy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in early on a Wednesday morning here in, of course, Ocean Lakes Family Campground's golf car rental and sales office. We were with Lance Thompson, their general manager, on Monday. And I said golf cart, and he said, oh no, these are cars, and they are. Okay. It's an amazing facility in here. Had you ever been out here before?
I had not, and I appreciate them allowing us to be out here this morning. So
oh yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, if you weren't here, we know where you'd be this morning, racing off to Christian Academy, so thank you. You can still get over there probably before classes start, which are?
At 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock.
Right.
That's great. I said the administrator at Christian Academy in Myrtle Beach. Is that kind of the Christian Academy title for principal, or is it different?
It really is not. We have a wonderful principal, Marty Williams, who really directs the operations of the school each day. As the administrator, I really focus on curriculum and instruction. Okay. I'm involved in many other aspects of the school, but Mr. Williams really does that daily operational piece. And we assist one another. It's a team.
Good. Great team there, yes. Yeah. About yourself, Nancy, are you originally from the area?
I am not, but I've been here for 25 years. 25
years?
Right. I grew up in Kannapolis, North Carolina. I went to school at Wake Forest.
Oh.
And really planned to come here for just about a year. I met my husband while I was here for that year. Yes. Before going to law school is what I thought. But my path changed, and I've ended up here, and have loved education, and I taught at Myrtle Beach Primary for a while. Taught out at Coastal Carolina in their School of Education, enjoyed that very much as well, and then became involved with Christian Academy after I had my own children, and have been there really the rest of the way career-wise.
You said you were thinking about going to law school, Nancy, or was that your husband thinking? You were thinking about going to law school. Yes.
No, that was me.
You were just going to be down here a year, and it was truly that opportunity of meeting somebody special and finding out sand in the toes or no. It's just finding out this is the place.
Yeah, I really never thought I'd live in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
You don't think about Myrtle Beach as being the place to live. You think about vacationing here, but you know, it's such a nice small town, and you just got to know people and ended up staying here.
That is tremendous. You mentioned that, and then later you found Christian Academy in Myrtle Beach.
Right.
So you've been involved virtually since the early days.
Right, even before my first child was there. It's interesting, the school was had hired a headmaster, and they were looking for a location probably 18 years ago.
Wow. I
was invited to some coffees and things of that sort, and to gain more information about the school. I had a preschooler, but the school didn't open at that time. And so we moved to Myrtle Beach in the meantime. Just after that, Christian Academy opened, and I got a call about coming, and was I interested in being the principal or a teacher, and I was at home with babies, and so that was not the time. That was not where I was supposed to be. But anyway, I ended up involved, chairing the board, and et cetera.
Really?
And so have been there ever since.
That's tremendous. And that is how many years ago?
That is now, the school is in its 15th year.
Congratulations. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. If a viewer's never been to the school, is it located in the heart of Myrtle Beach, or in one of the hinterland? The Myrtle Beach area is so spread out, obviously, for a lot of our viewers in the PD and southeastern North Carolina who may not have been down here. But for viewers right here, is it easy to find?
It is. It's at First Baptist Church in central Myrtle Beach. It hasn't always been there. We were first located at an old funeral home.
Oh, a funeral home.
Right, many years ago, up on 65th Avenue. The school was there for 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And then we outgrew that facility and went out to Myrtle Beach Community Church, which is the facility called the Forum now, out at the old Fantasy Harbor.
Oh, great, yeah.
We were there 6 years, I believe,
Right.
6, and had a good relationship with them that allowed us to grow.
Yes.
And then, as they needed to use their facility in a different way, and we were continuing to grow,
Right.
First Baptist Church opened up their facility for us, and that has allowed us once again to grow. The school started with 29 students in the funeral home and 5 faculty members.
Wow.
And today at First Baptist, there are 240 students and 30 plus faculty members.
Just 15 years later.
Right.
That
and,
is incredible.
So that has been, it's been a blessing, that's for
Yes.
sure. It has been with its challenges, but God has really blessed the school and allowed us to grow. And even in this tough economic time, many independent schools are having to close. It's a very sad thing to learn about as an independent school person, but we have grown. We've even grown since Christmas, and so we're grateful for that. And we don't take it for granted.
No, I'm sure you don't. That is tremendous, Nancy. Now, that idea, when you actually started 15 years ago, did it start with the full-fledged K through 12 with just 29 students? That must have been a little tough to do. What were the grades that originally kicked off?
Right. It started with grades 1 to 5, I believe that's
Yeah,
correct.
sure.
And we had some combined classrooms, and added a grade a year after that with the idea of having grades 1 to 8, because there's so many really exemplary kindergartens in our area. In the churches, certainly in our public schools, there's some exemplary kindergartens. And what we found was, as we grew, many people wanted to be there for kindergarten and be part of a total program. So we added kindergarten the same year we added the 8th grade.
Wow.
And then, probably 10 years into the school's history, maybe 8 or 9 years into the school's history, it starts to run together.
Right,
but,
sure.
We began to study the feasibility of adding a high school, and really visited a lot of independent schools.
Oh, I bet,
Christian and independent, not necessarily affiliated with the Christian faith, and studied the components of those schools that made them strong, some that had been around for a long time, some that had only been around for a few years, and we decided that it really was the time to add a high school in the area, well, a Christian high school in the area, so we began to add a grade a year, and we've had 3 or 4 graduating classes of 1 or 2, one class of 3, one class of 6. This year's class will have 8. But behind those classes, though, are classes of 21, 22, 23. So we see the growth and we see the possibility, and it's really exciting.
What about those families 15 years ago, Nancy, who really took a real, what's that word? I mean, they just took a real leap of faith. Thank you. Yeah, speaking of faith,
it amazed
those
me.
29 children out of the gate.
Right. It amazed me. For people that have lived in Myrtle Beach, we would go to the old Aunt Maud's restaurant, and Gene and Jerry Anderson, very gracious with us, and we would go upstairs and we would interview with families, in my mind, to come to a school that really didn't exist.
Didn't exist, yeah.
And we were hiring teachers to come and teach at this school that was not really, it was coming together, it was being formulated, the building was being prepared, and certainly textbooks were being purchased, but it still had not existed yet formally. And so that kind of amazed me. But I have a picture of those 29 students in my office, and it makes me smile now to see the ones that have gone on to college, have done very well, or married, have their own children, that sort of thing, even some of those. So that's exciting to see.
That is tremendous, Nancy. Yes, that must be very inspiring each day.
It is.
To look up or look wherever that is in your office, on the wall or on your desk, to see those 29 and to know those families clearly had to believe in Christian Academy. Has it always been Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach?
It has, and there's been a lot of talk about, do we change that name? There are, as you can imagine, thousands of Christian academies in this world, in the United States. But we have chosen to leave it Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach to keep that Christian piece at the beginning, and that's a little bit of a challenge. There are people that want to make us Myrtle Beach Christian, and that's okay. We go with the flow, particularly in athletics.
Well, of course, and there were a number of schools, private schools in the area, independent schools that started, and they're no longer here in Myrtle Beach proper and in the Myrtle Beach area. So that in and of itself is, you don't want to be thrown in with them, lumped in, and thinking, oh, well, they're just going to be here a few more years. There's no way they can make it.
Right. I think another challenge for a Christian school is at least I grew up in public school and am a supporter of public school, and my family was a big supporter of public school. So Christian education was very new to me, and how you could purposefully fuse that biblical piece with the learning. And I think there's been a perception, not nationally, but in our area, that a Christian school is subpar academically. And that's not the case at all. We would contend that excellence honors God, and if you're going to have Christian as part of your school name even, that raises the bar. So, that's been a perception to overcome. I think that as our folks have graduated, students have graduated, received multiple scholarship offers, they're beginning to see that solid academic program and how our students can compete and do compete, and yet they've had that benefit of the fusion of the faith with the learning. And really, I would also contend that the Bible piece that is added in and integrated throughout the day, that's really a highly academic pursuit because of that comprehension that can be taught even within the Bible instruction. So that's a piece people don't really consider, because the higher level thinking really is enhanced through the Christian piece.
Boy, that is critical,
anyway,
Nancy.
Yes. Think about that.
I'm sure a lot of folks don't think about that. Is there potentially the fear that God is just too involved in the classroom there, and that the teachers are essentially not brainwashing, but that they're just totally fixated on, because assumably all these teachers are qualified and credentialed enough to be in any environment, any teaching environment.
Right. And I think that is a fear for some folks that come in, and it's interesting because people that will come and tour the school, as they're walking the halls or walking into classrooms, listening, observing, they will say, this is real school. And I'm not really sure what they thought we were doing. but anyway, they'll go, this is real school. And I say yes. And they can see children interacting with teachers, interacting with one another, certainly doing the things that we do in real school, and certainly challenging them in today's world to be problem solvers, small groups working together, trying to create solutions, not just regurgitate information. It's a new model, a new paradigm for education in all schools today that are going to compete. Online learning has changed that and has brought a new component. It has broadened what we can offer, though we do very little with it, a small percentage. Our high schoolers can access South Carolina Virtual School if they need or desire a different offering than what we have at this time. That's been a great enhancement for us.
Boy, that's tremendous, Nancy. If a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school right now, what's a good way to learn more about Christian Academy? Do you all have a website? Is there a good phone number that someone could call to get information about the school?
We do. The website is christianacademyonline.org.
Okay.
And it is pretty informative. It's not perfect and it's not always up to the minute, but it has all of the critical information. Certainly you can take a look at what our calendar looks like and see how that compares as you're looking at options for your children.
Good.
You can learn a lot about the academic program. You can learn a lot about the philosophy. And we probably want to talk further about this, but you ask about how God is introduced, and many churches are represented in our school. 40 plus churches are represented, which is kind of amazing to me. But we really try to focus on the things that unify us in our faith versus the denominational differences or possible differences that might divide us, and take our eye off the ball, if you will, and really off keeping the main thing the main thing.
Yes, I surely did want to highlight that, since you said you'd been at a non-denominational church, Myrtle Beach Community Church, for 6 years, and now at First Baptist Church. There is not necessarily an affiliation with First Baptist Church, clearly.
There's not. However, I must say that First Baptist Church has been tremendous to Christian Academy. It is bittersweet to think about moving from First Baptist Church because of those relationships. The leadership there has really, and the members there have really taken us under their wing and cared for us, and we hope that we've been good to the church as well, and that we will leave the church better equipped to serve young people than when we came.
That's tremendous.